He showcased
Bench live,
the
we're live.
different. Okay, we'll talk about that later. All right, here we go. All right, so welcome to Sports for All. And tonight we have with us a man who I invited a few months back, and he's here. He's finally here. Fortunately, he's here, and he's the Jewish Jordan, Tamir Goodman. Tamir, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be on your show.
And also with us is veteran sports journalist Brian Yalong.
Yeah, good evening to everybody. Good evening, Vince. Good evening, Tamir. I'm so honored to talk to you tonight, and let's talk a lot about basketball.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
All right. My first question, Tamir, is, I did my research, and let's go back to when you were recruited by the University of Maryland, and they did not accommodate your request that you not be forced to play, or that you are exempted from playing on days where you have to practice your faith. What other things did they not allow you to do aside from not practice your faith on certain game days?
Well, first of all, I'll just start off by saying, like, I have nothing against the University of Maryland. I love
Yes.
the University of Maryland. I'm still very, very close with some of the staff and some of the players there. Originally, it looked like it was going to be able to work out where I'd be able to play there and be able to observe the Sabbath. But ultimately, it came pretty clear to me that if I wanted to stay and play there, I could stay and play, but I would have to play on the Sabbath based on how they saw me as a player and how they saw things moving forward. So I just said, Coach, thank you for the opportunity. I love this program, but for Jewish people, the Sabbath is more important
Yes.
than basketball. And I gave them back the scholarship. They went on to win the national championship. I would have been on that team. I'm happy that they won the championship because I am from Maryland and they made history, and I congratulate them. And ultimately, I was able to live out my dream too because Towson University managed to change the schedule for me, and I was able to play Division I on a full scholarship without having to play on the Sabbath. So I'm happy. It worked out for everybody on all ends, on all parties. So I'm thankful for that.
Was Gary Williams the coach then was he still the coach then of Maryland?
Yes, Coach Williams was still there, and Coach Hahn, who was assistant coach, who I'm still very, very close with till today. And I absolutely love him, and I love his family. And he was the coach who recruited me to play there. And he's a very religious man too. So he understood me, I understood them. Everything's positive.
How did Coach Gary recruit you coming out of high school?
Yeah, Coach. Well, it was really Coach Hahn, who was assistant coach for Coach Gary Williams. He was known as one of the best recruiters in America at the time. And he came to watch me play in high school. He came to watch me play in the summer. And he offered me the opportunity to join the team. I said I'd love to because they were my favorite team on the condition that I can't play on the Shabbat, the Sabbath.
I see. And who, had you gone on to Maryland, who would have been your teammates who made it to the NBA?
A lot of players made it to the NBA. A lot of whom I'm still in touch with till today. Steve Francis, if you remember, he's a friend of mine till today. And Chris Wilcox made it to the NBA. Juan Dixon made it to the NBA. Steve Blake made it to the NBA today. He's a coach in the NBA. There was a lot of talented players that we used to train with in the evenings there. Those were great runs, like you say. Those are great opportunities. I got a chance to play with those guys, and I'm thankful that for the most part, the majority of them I still have a relationship with till today. So that's the most beautiful thing.
And in Towson, Towson University, which conference did you play?
So my first year we played in the American East Conference, and then the second year they transferred to the CAA. But I really basically only played there 1 year, basically. And then I came to Israel. Coach David Blatt who was the first Israeli coach to coach in the NBA. He was the coach who brought me to Israel.
Okay, who I thought was unfairly, unceremoniously fired from Cleveland, and at that time that he was asked to leave or fired, I mean, as a sports journalist, I did not agree with that. I thought he was doing a fantastic job at the time he was coaching Cleveland.
Well, Coach Blatt is a very dear friend. He's actually like a father figure to me. I love him dearly. He's accomplished so much in his life. Unfortunately, he's not well. He's not well. He's battling a lot of health challenges right now. So I hope that God blesses him and his family. And I also want to say that his son, who's also named Tamir, is a very, very good player. He just signed with a European team in Germany. And I really enjoy watching them play. And I hope that through watching his children's accomplishments and how well his son plays, it can help him feel better with everything that coach is going through.
And I also read, Tamir, you had a run-in or an incident with your coach at Towson. Um, would you mind telling us about that?
Yeah, so my freshman year at Towson was really good, because the coach who recruited me, Coach Jazz, brought me to Towson, and he was able to accommodate Shabbat and my religious observance. He was the coach that recruited me. And I'm very, very, very close with him till today. But unfortunately, after my freshman year, he got fired, and the entire staff got fired. And the new coach who came in, he wasn't as accommodating. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
To everything. So there was a very negative incident that happened, but hopefully, ultimately, I believe it made me a better person and a stronger person. And I try to turn it into a positive. I try to turn a negative experience into a positive experience.
Okay, now let's go to when you were christened Jewish Jordan. You were averaging 35.4 points as a junior in high school. When you were given that nickname, did you feel all of a sudden you had a bullseye on your back?
Yeah, it's very hard to adjust to that at such a young age. I recently spoke to a public relations professional here in America that has a very big sports PR company, and he said he believes, other than Wilt Chamberlain, I think he said Wilt Chamberlain, Allen Iverson, and LeBron James, there's never been a player in American high school history that had as much publicity as I did. And so that was a lot to go through at a very young age. I did not like the nickname. I was a very simple person, very quiet person that just loved basketball. But I tried to use the nickname to, hopefully inspire other people that wanted to beat the odds in their life, or maybe accomplish something that society was telling them they wouldn't be able to do. And hopefully maybe through my story and then maybe even the nickname, it would be able to inspire them and help them. So that type of mindset kind of helped me, because it took some of the pressure off of me, because it wasn't about me. It was about something bigger than myself, and trying to help other people and try to do pretty good things through everything. So I think that's how I handled it. And my coaches and family helped me as well, but it was very overwhelming.
Because you retired at quite a young age, Tamir, at the age of 27 in 2009. And when you look back, are there a lot of woulda, shoulda, couldas in your career? I mean, if you never got injured or didn't get injured often, you'd probably be in the NBA now, right? Right?
Jewish training teaches us that everything is divinely ordained. Everything that happens, that's the way it's supposed to happen, and you have to work with what you have instead of what you don't have. So I never think of like would have, could have, should have. I always thank God for the blessings that I do have, and work with them to reach my potential in the world. That's all that we're supposed to do. Each person's supposed to reach their unique potential, and maybe everything that happened to me so that I could maybe reach my potential as a person, and not only just as a player, because the injuries and everything, they made me much more sensitive. They made me much more creative. They made me a better father, a better husband, a better human being. So ultimately they were in some way a positive, because they helped me reach my potential as a person. Whereas if I would have stayed healthy, maybe I would have been a better basketball player and better statistics, but I don't know if I would have reached my potential as a person.
Last question before I turn you over to Brian. In your years in sports as a player, as a student athlete, did you ever experience any anti-Semitism?
Yes, I experienced a lot of anti-Semitism in my life, but I also experienced a lot of non-Jewish people coming to help me and support me. And those are the moments that I think about, the moments of my teammates going out of their way to help me, going out of their way to be there for me, whether it was like my kippah falling off in a game and they put it back on my head for me, or trying to arrange a schedule to help me. And those teammates are my brothers for life. Till today, we talk all the time, and I cherish those relationships. So again, I try not to think about the negative things that have happened to me, but I try to think about the positive things and the positive relationships and the fact that I got to live out my dream.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Tamir, I'm just curious. I mean, with all you're a pretty good basketball player. I mean, the only thing I saw that really well stopped you was your injuries. But at some point when you were at your height, did the NBA ever become a goal for you?
Obviously, I loved the NBA growing up. I was invited to NBA camp when I was younger, and that went really well, and that was a great experience for me. But I really try to live and win each day and see where it takes me, and instead of trying to control too much. I've learned that, you know, God is in control, and it's not good for me. It wouldn't be good to, like, you know, try to control things too much, but rather like train very hard, do well in school, try to be respectful, and then see where God takes me. And ultimately, it took me to play here professionally in Israel, which was amazing. My grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. She was one of the oldest Holocaust survivors in the world. She passed away only 2 years ago at the age of 98. But look, I got to play professional basketball and live with my grandmother, who was a Holocaust survivor. Like, if I would have played in the NBA, I probably wouldn't have had that opportunity. So again, I'm thankful for what I got to experience in my life, and I don't think about what I wasn't able to experience.
Okay. So at what point? I mean, you retired, as Vince said earlier. You retired at a very young age. So at what point did you start trying? You diverse into this what do you call this? You're but preaching basketball in a different sense to kids. When did this happen?
Yeah.
When
Well,
did
you know, actually my first year, my rookie year, is when I started to really experience a lot of pain in my knee.
Mhm.
I was able to get a lot of surgeries and push through all the way until for 7 years, but I really didn't have a choice but to start right away because I knew that my knee was in trouble. So really, with my rookie year, I started doing a lot of camps and clinics, bridging communities, bridging people together through basketball. So it really started in my first year, I would say, of a professional player, because already then I started to sense a lot of pain in my left knee.
through these camps, have you ever worked with any familiar names? I mean, in the Europe or the NBA scene, who's helped you out?
Yes, every year we try to bring over to Jerusalem a lot of players. Rick Barry came to Israel.
Oh,
Yeah, he came this summer. Tony Delk
mhm.
came this summer. Walter McCarthy came this summer. Tamar Slay, who played for the New Jersey Nets back in the day. Michael Sweetney, who played for the Knicks, is a dear friend of mine. Every summer we host different people here in Jerusalem, and it's very exciting for the kids and very exciting for me, and just, you know, happy that I'm able to have basketball part of my life and try to do good things for the next generation through basketball.
Are there any kids who are standing out? Have you noticed any kids who you feel would be following your footsteps or the pros right now?
Yeah, I think in general, there's like a really great awareness, because I think that the world is in a healthier place than it was 20 years ago, meaning respecting people's differences and cultures now is much more out there than it was when I was younger. So we're seeing there's 2 Jewish baseball players right now that made it to Major League Baseball that said they wouldn't compete on Shabbat, and it was almost like accepted right away. That made me very happy. There's incredible things going on at Yeshiva University in New York, a Jewish basketball team. They're ranked number 2 in the nation right now in Division III basketball. And a lot of these kids have a really bright future. So, and it's not only for the Jewish faith. We see a lot of different faiths out there. People are much more willing to respect. And I'm very happy to see that. That makes me really happy.
All right. Okay, back to you, Vince. Thanks.
Okay, Tamir, you averaged 35 points in your junior year. Did that average dip a bit in your senior year?
Yes, I believe so. I think in my senior year, I transferred schools and it went down to like maybe 25 or 27 points a game. But we had a very talented team with some other college players, future college players, and a different system. And there was a lot of adjusting just for one season. But it was, it was a good experience for me. I had a great, obviously 10th and 11th grade were very magical for me. And I got to play for my coach and my teammates who I basically grew up with. And then transferring to a Christian school as a Jewish person was an adjustment at first, but a blessing because I got to get close with different people from different backgrounds. The basketball was different, but ultimately I grew academically, athletically, and I'm thankful to the Christian community for embracing me and helping me my senior year of high school.
Now, Tamir, would you agree that since the pandemic began mentally, and probably also including the kids you've taught, mentored, and guided, has it been mentally the toughest for professional athletes the past year and a half to 2 years because of COVID, mentally, mentally speaking, mentally challenging the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think look, the pandemic is hard for each and every person in their own way. And to me, that just shows us that we're all one people, the whole world, we're all connected. Everybody, nobody could escape it. We're all together. And I think that is teaching us that we must unite. People, we all must be together because there shouldn't be fights amongst people, or we're all the same. We're the same. Every human is the same, and we're all challenged, and each and every person in their own way. So that should give us a heightened sensitivity to everybody. But for athletes specifically, I think that it's hard for us because we're so used to having, for example, basketball, like going to the gym is like our safe haven, and when you can't do that, and the gym was closed here for a very long time, it was very challenging. Yes, it was very challenging. And it's like what you like to do and what you do best, you can't do anymore. So that was very challenging, but it forced us to be more creative. It forced us to spend more time with our family and focus on values and hopefully on inspiration as well.
Any thoughts did you ever consider getting into coaching? Is that part of your future?
I've been offered to coach at the professional level, but I've turned it down for now because I have 5 young kids and a wife, and that's really important for me to be at home at night. And I want to be able to put my kids to sleep at night and help them with their homework and help them with dinner and be there for them while they're younger. When they're older and they're busier, maybe it'll be different. But for right now, I'm very committed to my kids and giving them a healthy life as much as possible and being a good father and a husband.
Okay, Tamir, forgive my ignorance, but you mentioned something that you wear as part of your faith on top of your head, and you mentioned something that you have to wear that even while you're playing. So how do you keep that on your head for 30 minutes while you're playing?
Yeah, so my kippah,
Yes.
there's like clips.
Okay.
And then you just clip it on.
Okay.
And basically, the kippah just reminds you that God is always on top of you. It's so easy to get caught up in the world nowadays and get swept away with whatever. But when God is on top of you, it helps us like make smarter decisions. it lets us know that we do matter. Our actions matter. What we think about matters. How we talk to people matters. Mindfulness when we eat, how we eat, what we're eating, not wasting time throughout the day, being productive, being creative, being confident, being sweet. These are all things that help us lead a healthier life. And it's all because we know we have that relationship with God. And that just represents our kippah. Just like when you get a new pair of Air Jordans, it gives you the energy to go out there and want to play basketball, play better. So when you have your kippah, it gives you the energy and the vibe of like humility and productivity, respect, and mindfulness.
Okay, and we're still in a pandemic, and you mentioned earlier about being creative and being innovative, and I'm sure you're still in touch with your kids, with the kids you're mentoring, you're guiding, you're teaching. How have you been able to circumvent the pandemic and still be able to communicate with your kids and still be able to teach them somehow?
Yeah, so we do a lot on Zoom. We were able to have a day camp instead of an overnight camp. But ultimately, 3 of our camps were canceled. And I wrote out a letter that said, ultimately, our camps aren't about basketball, they're about life. And I want our kids to be winners. And the greatest way to be a winner is to know that sometimes you could do everything, put the camp together, work hard, programming for a year, and then it doesn't go through. And a person might be really sad, but they shouldn't be sad. They should be proud because they put forth the effort. Every time you put forth effort, there's some type of growth, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And I said to the campers, even though we can't physically have camp, after we put it all together, it doesn't mean we're not winners. It means we are winners because no matter what, we always move forward. So I try to teach them the lessons even through the challenges of the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm like you and Brian. I'm a father myself, so I have a 1-year-old baby girl, and it's a pandemic. They're not able to experience being with their grandparents, with their loved ones. And how is it with you? You have 5 kids, and how are you able to explain to them um, that they're not able to see their grandparents, their relatives because of the pandemic? As young as they are, how do you and your wife, do you guys explain to your kids?
Yeah, we explained to them that it is a very challenging time and we could always try to talk to them about it. We do a lot of Zooms, with our extended family. And then, one thing that's helpful is like on the Sabbath. So every Friday night until Saturday night, Jewish people, we don't look at our phone. All electricity stops. No TV, no phone. You can't cook. You can't work. You can't turn the light on and off. It's just 25 hours of like love within your family, looking at your kids in the eyes, sitting at the dinner table, eating with them. They know that for those hours, their parents are 100% there for them. No emails, no texts, no one's questioning, nothing. You want to play a board game? Yes. Daddy and mommy are here. You want to read a story? We're both here with you. And those 25 hours give the whole week a sense of love and nourishment to carry us through the week. So I think like that's the blessing of the Sabbath is a very, very good thing that helped us through the pandemic.
Any of your kids are showing signs of following in your footsteps, interested in basketball?
Yeah, it seems like all the kids are very athletic, and they love basketball. But my girls really seem to love gymnastics more. I have 2 boys. One of them seems to really, really love basketball. He's 14, so let's see what happens. The main thing is he's a good boy. That's the main thing. Basketball will take care of itself.
All right, Brian.
Just want to comment on that no texting. Anyone here in the Philippines who does that will not last that long without texting or the mobile phone. Believe me.
Well, they say that there's been so much persecution against the Jewish people around the world in so many countries for so many years that actually what saved the Jewish people was the Sabbath. if they say if it wasn't for the Sabbath, there probably wouldn't be Jewish people anymore in the world. There was 14 million people, Jewish people, before the Holocaust. Then 6 million died. And now, all these years later, 70 some years later, we're just getting back close to 14. Like, that's how close we were to being extinct. But because of the Sabbath, the Jewish people value it so much, and they know that without it, we probably wouldn't be around. We look at it as a blessing, not as a challenge.
Well, I wish I could do that to my son. Anyway, I'm just curious. Tamir, during your time, basketball during your time compared to what we see it today has evolved and changed, and there's a lot of things. What are some of the things you noticed that changed in the game?
Yeah, well, I think that the technology has advanced so much. The nutrition, what we know about the body, the training is so much more advanced.
Yeah.
And that's allowing the players, even at younger ages, to develop so quickly and do things that we never thought were possible, basically. And for me, it's really beautiful to watch. I'm amazed by what the players are doing nowadays. And I'm happy for them. I'm happy how everything's advanced. You know, I was joking last night, like, when we were younger, it was all about like toughening you up, toughening you up, toughening you up. I can remember the coaches saying, you don't need to drink water. Why you play through it? You're not thirsty. You're not thirsty. Just keep playing. Just keep playing. And nowadays there's like such an emphasis, you know, they say LeBron spends $1 million a year just on his body, on stretching and on nutrition. So it's like, it's nice to see how things have evolved and the game becomes more and more beautiful to watch in a certain way. So I think that's the biggest change. Like, I can't even imagine if Michael Jordan had the technology now and the eating habits and the training. I don't even know what he would have been doing out there.
Do you think if you were still in your prime and you had all of these, you would have avoided those injuries or taken care of them?
I think that's one thing that I put an emphasis on, that anytime I see a kid playing through pain and everything like that, when we were growing up, it was like, of course you play through, but you know what? I played through, and now I can barely walk. And now I see kids, I say, stop. There's no benefit in it. Get 100% better. Get even stronger than you were before you got hurt, and then come back on the court. And here's the tools to do it. Here's the physical therapist. Here's the mental strengthening coaches that they have that we didn't really have. And I think that's a big change, but it's really smart, and hopefully it'll prolong careers. Players will play much longer than they were when we were younger.
How about the way teams play in Europe, in NBA, or Asia? Have you seen a big difference compared to your time?
Yes, I think so. I think just the moves that they're making, the Euro steps, the step backs, the way that their bodies are moving, it's just different. It's much more creative. I mean, we saw hints of it when we were younger. Michael Jordan definitely had a step back, but it's not like what James Harden is doing now, or what Steph Curry's doing now, or a lot of shots that the players are taking now would have been considered bad shots in our time, and nowadays they're acceptable. Trae Young is like shooting shots that we would have been benched for, That's a bad shot. You don't shoot like that. But now it's become acceptable. If you can make it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's a different kind of ball game right now. I just wanted to ask, Tamir, have you heard anything about the Philippines, the players who are coming out from our end?
Well, I like to follow NBA Global, like Beyond Borders, and to see like what the players are accomplishing from all over. So anytime there's a feature on a player, I'm very interested in it, and I'm proud of it. I got to play with some players from the Philippines, but they were like one, like you didn't hear, it was like almost more rare back then, but now we're hearing about more and more players coming out, and that makes me very happy that the game's growing and that the players are what I call like big picture, like they're not settling. Why can't they go far in their career? They should be able to. they should be able to fulfill their dreams. And I think that the way basketball is going, the way the world's going, they should be able to. And I want to hear a lot of good news from them and a lot of accomplishments.
But have you heard how crazy people Filipinos are about the game?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. May I
Yeah.
ask what you heard? Just
Just the passion,
Right.
I know the passion is there, the passion for the game. And look, that's what it boils down to, because if you want to be great at anything in life, the key ingredient is the love. If you don't love it, it's going to be very hard to persevere and to overcome the challenges that come along with it. But if you love something, you just keep on going and going and going. So I think that's going to be the key differences, because I understand and I keep hearing about how passionate and how strong the love is for the game. And I think that's going to turn into results.
Okay, Tamir, one last question before I turn you over back to Vince. I'd like to get your thoughts on Kyrie Irving, the stance. He's in the spotlight right now, and there's a certain mix of religion, I think, in his decision not to get vaccinated. I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's a very very hard situation, very challenging situation. He's trying to say, from what I understand, is that he's really on both sides. Like he's not trying to on the one hand, he understands why people should get the vaccine and want to get the vaccine, but then on the other hand, he understands why people should be able to choose what's going on with their body. So I don't really have like an exact opinion, because it seems like he's saying he respects everybody, which is great. I could say for myself, I've been vaccinated 3 times. My wife's been vaccinated 3 times. And our kids who are 12 and up have already been vaccinated twice. And as soon as they let them get the 3rd, they'll probably get the 3rd. I'm not a scientist. I don't know anything about it. But for me personally, just the way I am, if I know that by me getting the vaccine, it could help other people, then I'm in. That's all I needed to hear. I don't need to hear anything else. Like if I know by me doing that, it'll help the general population and help other people, then that's why I'll do it. I'm glad to do it. And I don't even need to do the research. I just, I'll do it to help other people. Now, that doesn't mean I love everybody and I respect everybody. There's an old Jewish saying, and this is the way I was raised, and it's the way I am till today. Like, why do we have one mouth, one nose, and then 2 eyes? Why don't we have one eye? It doesn't make sense, And the old rabbi used to say, the right eye is so that you could see everyone you see, you think about them positively. You think about their good traits and the good things they do. And the left eye is to look at yourself. If you want to judge someone, judge yourself. Look at yourself and see how you can improve. But use your right eye to just see the good in everybody. And that's kind of how I've always lived life. So it's hard for me to talk about other people. I just try to see the good in everybody.
I love it how you explained that. There you got something out of that. Anyway,
Cool.
thank you. Vince, back to you.
Okay, Tamir, I know you have a certain way of training your kids, guiding them, mentoring them, and teaching them. Would you recommend or advise, even to your own son? Because remember when Kobe was still playing, he would play through injury, through pain. I remember in '97 or '98, after they were eliminated by the Utah Jazz, first thing he did was to look for the nearest high school gym and started practicing and shooting and working out. The Mamba mentality and Jordan's mentality in training and working out. Is this something you recommend to your kids, especially to your son?
I think that there is something very special about hard work and being resilient and overcoming challenges 100%. But I also think that there's like a healthy balance. There's a way to do it. Like I'm all for, waking up early, working out, getting in the gym, pushing through when you're tired. But I also think that there's like a time for family and there's a time for other experiences in life. because I look back at my life and everything was basketball, 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 and it comes with a sacrifice, and there is a sacrifice. You're gonna miss family birthdays. You're gonna miss holidays with your family. It comes with it, but I do think that it is important to have a space for education, have space for to be a balanced person. To be a balanced person is important, but within that, like when it's time for basketball, be mindful of it, and when it's time for training, you got to have that mama mentality. But then, when it's time for family, be with your family. When it's that type of thing. I think it is important to have a balance, and then whatever you're involved in, give 100. Have the mama mentality at the time for what you're being involved in and why you're being involved in it, if that makes sense.
You grew up in Baltimore, and how is Baltimore basketball, or Maryland basketball for that matter, different from basketball in other cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago? How is the type of basketball in Baltimore?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, the two basketball legends, three basketball legends from Baltimore were Muggsy Bogues, Sam Cassell, and Reggie Lewis of blessed memory.
Yes.
And when you look at those three players, all of them beat the odds. Muggsy was only 5'3". Sam Cassell, same thing. He wasn't like overly athletic or anything like that. And Reggie Lewis, he played at a small college. He played at Northeastern University. But all three of them beat the odds and ended up having incredible NBA careers. So I think that represented the basketball in Baltimore at the time of beating the odds, not letting society dictate what you can or cannot accomplish based on how you look or where you come from or what your height is, but to persevere and beat the odds. And I think I'm very thankful that I grew up in that type of basketball environment, because that was the mentality I grew up with as well.
And as soon as COVID is gone, as soon that this whole craziness goes away, or before the pandemic, were there any plans for you to bring your training, your teaching basketball, and also life? And were there any plans to go outside of Israel, maybe to the Philippines here in Asia, Southeast Asia, or South America, and any plans of
Yeah, I
going?
did get a lot of invitations and stuff. And I went to England actually right before the pandemic. I, yeah, I'd like to, but I just have to make sure it's okay with my family, and they're okay, and the kids are okay, and if they're okay, then I'm okay. I always make sure my family and my kids are okay before I travel.
I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't able to see you play when you were averaging 35 points per game in your junior year. What was your style of play then?
Actually, I always loved passing. That's my favorite thing. I love passing, and if I had to score, it was probably a pull up jump shot, pull up threes. Yeah.
And did you ever, I mean, you said earlier, related to your religion, to your faith, that not to look back, but did you ever wonder or think how many points would you have averaged if you played in the NBA right now with all the space going on?
Yeah, I always think assist first though. So I really like LaMelo Ball. I like the way he plays. Um, if I say like if there was anyone who I kind of like, if I did make it to the NBA, what it would look like, it would probably be like him, the way he passes the ball. I like a lot of times watch his highlights, and before he does the decision, I'm thinking in my mind like, okay, what would I do right there? And a lot of times it ends up being the same thing. So that was kind of my style. I love passing.
Allow me to put you in a spot for a while, Tamir. Who is your GOAT? And we have that debate on Jordan, LeBron. Who is your GOAT?
So there's like every week we studied a different Torah portion of the Bible, and last week was the Torah portion of Noah and the flood. Do you know the story of Noah and the flood?
Yes,
And the
yes.
ark, Noah and the ark. So there is a question that they asked thousands of years ago: was Noah the greatest human being in the Bible? Should we look up to him? Was he the greatest figure? And one rabbi said no, because he was the greatest, but the greatest in his generation. Because you can't compare what he was going through to what Abraham went through, or what Sarah or Rebecca, and the challenges that they all went through in their time. So I think that answers the GOAT debate the same thing. Like, it's impossible to say who the GOAT is because you can't compare the generations. We can't compare what basketball was like, what the training was like, what was going on, when Will Chamberlain was playing to when, Larry Bird was playing to LeBron to Jordan. Everyone's in a different era, and it's really impossible to compare different generations. So I use my right eye and I say, thank God I got to watch Michael Jordan. Thank God I got to see LeBron do what he's doing. Thank God I get to see what Steph gets to do. So I spend much more time like that instead of thinking about who's the GOAT.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on load management being, implemented around the league? Teams putting their star players on ice and fans, complaining that they're spending their hard-earned money and then the star players or the great players are not playing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think obviously if a player is not 100%, then they need a rest. The fans understand that, and everybody understands that. But if they're 100%, I don't think this really happens. I don't believe that if a player is really 100%, they're just going to sit them. So I think, you don't want to be going to a game and your kids want to coming to see a fan, coming to see the player that they want to see, and then that player's not playing for no reason. I'm assuming the doctors know what they're doing, and if there is a player resting, they should be resting. So I give them the benefit of the doubt.
And back when you were in Baltimore, did you encounter any taunting or trash talking while you were playing? And did any of that taunting get below the belt or foul? Was it too much?
A little bit less in Baltimore because Baltimore was my hometown, and most of the basketball community already knew me, and everybody in Baltimore is very respectful to me, and I'm always thankful to them for that. But sometimes when I would travel on the road, there was people making fun of me, making fun of my kippah, but I just try to let my game do the talking. And a lot of times, even people that would make fun of me at the end of the game, they would say, "Wow, congratulations! Even though we were taunting you, you still, kept the hat on your head, and you didn't put your head down." So it ended up inspiring them.
How is it working with, you have your countryman helping you out, Omri Caspi? How is it so far? How has retirement been treating him, and how is it working with him?
Yeah, he is a dear friend, and he opened up the door for everybody in Israel. He's the one who made it to the NBA, and he played 10 years, and I'm in touch with him all the time, and I'm just thankful that someone who made history I could call a friend, and he's always giving back, and he's always doing good things, and I'm thankful to be able to call him a friend. It's an honor.
And I'm curious. Omri played 10 years in the league. Was he ever forced to play on a Shabbat? And on days that there were Shabbat, was he allowed not to play?
Well, Omri did not grow up observant.
Okay.
He's Jewish, but he did not grow up observant, and now he's getting more and more observant. But there's no doubt that he's done incredible work for the Jewish people and for Israel, and we're all so proud of him.
So what were you working on, Tamir, before the pandemic happened with training the kids, teaching the kids? What were you working on before the pandemic started? Or what did the pandemic stop?
The pandemic stopped a lot of the coaching in the camps and the clinics, but it forced me to get much more involved in the sports tech scene. There's a lot of sports technology in Israel, and also focus on. I'm working on a movie and about my career. I digitized the highlights from my career. Like you said, you didn't get the chance to see me play, so hopefully when you see the movie, you'll be able to see some of that. And then I'm also working on a children's book. So I'm glad I got to do all of that, and at the same time, hopefully the pandemic will go past, and we'll be back on the court with all of our players again.
Okay, I think He froze. Vince, he'll be back.
I have to go in a minute though. I have another Zoom.
Okay. Okay. I just have one question, Tamir. There's this guy that's fascinating me. It's Denny at Diha.
Yes.
What can you tell us about this guy?
Yeah, Denny, we're also proud of him. Playing for the Wizards now. They just extended his contract.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to play through his third year with the Wizards. I think he's an incredible shooter. I think he has amazing strides.
Mm-hmm.
He gets up and down the floor really well. And I think defensively, he could block shots in the paint. He could switch on the pick and roll. He's just so valuable. He's kind of like everywhere on the court. And I'm glad that they extended his contract into the third season. That means that they believe in him as well too. So that's really exciting for him and for Israel.
Yeah. You see, I saw some of his clips. Looks promising, and he has a high basketball IQ. Do you see a
Very high
promising
basketball,
future?
a good body, tall, long, fast.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he'll have a great season this year.
So I guess if you have to go, I have to ask you any final words you want to share with us before we let you go. Because we can't
No,
take Vince.
I just want to thank you for thinking of me, and please send my love to everybody in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And it's a great honor to spend time with you. Thank you so much.
I'm hoping you can visit us one day.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. So let us know. All right. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Tamir. Take care.
All the
Take care.
best.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.